Okay, this is a quick video showing, there's a current debate going on about a video that was posted on YouTube. This has to do with an aircraft that had a sudden engine failure and it ended up doing a emergency landing in a field off to the right of the runway that it was taking off from. So here's the original video, and the video is basically composed of 3 separate segments. This is the first segment showing basically a forward view. And then the video skips over to a side-mounted camera, which is looking off to starboard, which is catching the same accident on video. And basically the debate is whether this is a real airplane or if it's an RC plane, or whether, there's the impact right there, or whether this, all 3 segments were from the same flight. Now here's segment 3. This is a downward and backward looking view. Same aircraft, same flight, and I'm about to prove it right here on YouTube. So the debate starts and it rages all through about people thinking, is this an RC plane or whatever? And then another viewer came on here and is talking about whether it's a Beechcraft or not. And I'm not interested in whether it's a Beechcraft. And I explain that here. I'm not addressing alleged make and manufacturer of the aircraft on this video. My conclusions are simply that all 3 video segments were taken from the exact same flight, which ended in a forced landing. That is what I'm trying to show here. This viewer came back again and he said my statement wasn't accurate, and he's talking about things that he's picking out in the video, and you know, that's not what I'm going by. I'm going by something completely different. I'm going to show you right here. I'm going to prove this on YouTube right now. So I tried to get him to do a wager, and I wagered him $1,000. And he came back and he said, I'm not wrong. Can't you see the obvious differences between these segments? There is no difference in the only difference is in the segments is the angle of the camera. So he's giving me an opportunity to withdraw my wager. I'm not withdrawing my wager. I bet this man, Davey123, $1,000 that. Now again, he keeps going back to the Beechcraft. I don't care what kind of aircraft it is. So what I'm stating is that I'm not interested in the make of the aircraft at all. I'm just saying that this video that this man put up was composed of footage from 3 separate cameras on the exact same aircraft during the exact same flight. And I'm betting this guy $1,000 that I can prove it. And I'm just wondering if he's going to pay me my $1,000 after I show him and any other witnesses that I'm correct. So we're going to do that right now. So what I did first is, of course, you got to grab the video. So I went to keepvid.com, I pulled the video down, and I imported it into Adobe Premiere Pro. So this is what the video looks like. This is the actual video that you were just looking at that I downloaded from YouTube. So the first thing you need to do is cut the video into 3 different segments. Here's the first segment. There's the crash. Okay, so that's the first segment, and then it skips over to the next segment, which starts right here. Okay, so what I did is I cut that right there, and then both videos are snipped in half. Okay, now this second segment is composed of 2 more clips, and they split right about here. This is the side camera, and then it flips to the rear camera. So then I cut those. So basically what you have down here is you have 3 separate videos from 3 different camera angles. And then what I did is I simply stacked them, one on top of the other, so that we could view them simultaneously. Once I stacked them, I had to adjust them back and forth until they were synchronized. That way, at any given moment in time along this red line, the video, the image that you see up here is composed of the forward view, the rear downward view, and also the starboard view, looking off the starboard side of the aircraft. Now the reason why these kick in at different times is because the original uploader only had so much video before and after the event. The important thing to see here is that when you scrub the video back and forth, you can clearly see that all 3 camera angles are completely synced together. When I move back and forth in time here, forward and reverse, do you see how perfectly the flight path, the attitude, and the pitch and the bank angle and everything matches up perfectly? So at the beginning of the flight, we can clearly see this is from the same flight. So moving on now, let's skip over to the point right before as he's leveling off. Right as he's leveling off again, we're going to watch the synchronization here of these 3 clips. Do you see how all 3 videos from all 3 separate cameras are synchronized perfectly? Can you see that? Look, do you see how right here in the forward view, how he's banked to the right? And then in the rear view, it appears like as if he's banked to the left. That's because they're reversed. This is looking forward, this is looking backward. Okay, so if you watch, look. Bank to the right, now he's level. Bank to the right, now he's level. If you watch these 2 cameras, you'll see that they're synced perfectly. Bank to the right, level. Bank to the right, level. Bank to the right, level. You'll also see it over here. Watch these 2 cameras. You watching? Bank to the right, right wing's down. Level with the horizon. Look at that. Right wing level with the horizon, horizon level. Now watch again. See that? They're perfectly synced together. I don't know how in the hell you could possibly get 2 separate flights with perfect synchronization. Now let's watch the crash. Impact. Look at that. Impact. 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 Do I need to play it again? Impact. Now, this first camera right here breaks free from the aircraft right after impact, and it rolls and it stops right there. This camera has now separated from the aircraft. These cameras are still on the aircraft. That's why you still see movement. Moving forward, and look at that. Imagine that. The plane stops at exactly the same time for both of these cameras at top. Look at that. You can see the exact same oscillations in both these videos, going back and forth. How in the hell would you possibly time 2 crashes perfectly like that? How would you do that? So let's watch again in case you didn't catch it. Here he is taking off. Here's where the downward camera comes in. Banking. Now you'll notice something here. When he banks to the left, do you see how in the bottom view, see how he's shifted to the left of the runway? And up here in the rear view, looking downward view, he's shifted to the left of the runway. Now as he banks more to the left, you'll see the runway actually move in sequence. You see that? Watch this. See that? He's banking. The camera pointed down is going to get a more centered view of the runway as he banks, which it does. You see that? So these are all in sync here. Look at that. Look at that level. Look, watch the wingtip. See the wingtip? And watch the horizon. Level flight. Level flights are right there. Look at that. See how perfectly they're lining up? You can't do this, man. You can't fake something like this. You can't fake this. You can't take you can't even take 2 separate flights and sync them so perfectly as this. It's impossible. It's impossible. Now other people are looking at shadows on the ground and whether they think he's going over this pond or this U-shaped building or whatever. That's insignificant. That doesn't, you can't tell that from 3 separate camera angles. Okay, it's hard. It's hard to tell. This airplane, we don't care about that. We don't need the airplane to prove this video. It's impossible that you can possibly have a flight lasting as many seconds as it did. Look at that. Plane bank to the right, plane bank to the right. Levels out right. Let's see when he levels out. Levels out right there. Right there. How do you do that? It's impossible to do that. So the conclusion is, supposedly these 3 camera views were taken from different flights. So now what we're going to find out is we're going to see if Davey here, let's see if he's going to pay me my $1,000. That's the next step. So I'll do a follow-up video and we'll see if Davey makes good on his bet. And Davey, if you keep talking about Beechcraft, I don't care about Beechcraft. I've never said anything about Beechcraft except to tell you that I don't care about Beechcraft. I'm not interested in the make and model of the airplane because I don't think that that we can tell enough to see the make and model from these flights. Now look at some other things that are interesting. Let's see if we can get the moment of impact. I haven't proved it enough, I don't know how I can clarify it. Let's watch this main view right here. Watch impact. I'm going to step forward, step forward, step forward. Right about there is impact. Okay, right about there where you see leaves and stuff moving around, that's impact. Now watch the wingtip. Watch the wingtip. It's going to bend. Boom! Right there, it bent. Did you see that? Watch that wingtip. Straight, bent. Straight, bent. This correlates exactly with what's going on in this main view right here. You're talking about million, you know, like 1/30th of a second here. Impact, impact. Look at that bent wing. It's like almost exactly. How can you possibly have 2 separate flights, or even 3 separate flights for that matter, and then synchronize their movement in 3D space to make them synchronize perfectly when you play them back to back?